Looking for some tranquil music here. Hey, Kevin. Hello, hello. Good afternoon, everyone who's joining the live, wherever in the world you all are right now. Share the live, share it with a friend, invite them. Let them know we vibing on the live today. We're going to be talking to Jordan Smith. Tell me what you all had for lunch today. Because I mean, it's lunchtime, right? It's almost 1 o'clock. So you all should be well fed and well hydrated. I see Dorsha sharing the live with our group of fellows. Very good, Dorsha. Thank you very much for letting them know we're here. And right now we're just waiting on Jordan to join the live. And for a few more people to join the live, you know, be here with us. And then we will get into the interview with one of the Creative Social Enterprise Fellows, Jordan Smith. Yeah, Dorsha, share the live. I'm seeing Astro Clouds here. How are you? It's been a while. Clouds, okay. I don't know if that means you're up in the clouds right now, but that's cool too. Dorsha, your live is coming pretty soon. Pretty soon. We're excited to have you on the live and hear your experience, and you know that you're part of the accelerator, you know, so we're excited to see what that journey has been like for you. I am in the clouds. Jordan, I'm seeing you on here, so you could join the live. I just sent you an invite. It's saying Jordan is unable to join. You could comment and let me know if you're seeing the request for you to join the live. Let me know if you got it, Jordan. Do we have Jordan yet? Let me just check. Jordan, you can send me a request too. It's saying you're unable to join, but send me a request and I'll accept it.
Hello.
Nice. Hello, how are you?
Hi, yeah, sorry about that. I had some trouble getting it on my computer here, but I got through on my phone.
I realize, and you look so nice. Who you dress up so for?
Yeah, I just like wearing, I get to wear the PlayStation shirt and a blazer, not often, so any opportunity I get, I put it on.
Well, we not seeing the PlayStation shirt, huh? At least I not seeing it, but you're looking good. You're looking real good. See, we have some trouble here. I think he's a bit stuck.
Right.
Right, so
Sorry, I lost you.
everything is good with your connection over there?
I hope so, yeah. Can you hear me fine?
Yeah, I'm hearing you. So, what you had for
Nice.
breakfast
So,
this morning? Tell us what you had for breakfast this morning.
I started skipping breakfast. I know it's the most important meal of the day. They say I should not, but I started skipping breakfast so I could lose more weight, so I could look more like my twin brother, who is twin, but a lot skinnier than I am, and I don't
Right.
like that. So to get back to him, and the easiest way
Well,
was skipping breakfast.
well, we now learning that you have a twin brother. Does he look exactly like you?
Not for the in recent photos because he's like 20 pounds less than I am, but before too, and I'm trying to get back to that because I missed the days
Yeah.
when I could have tricked.
No, you looking good. I don't understand. You looking really good.
Yes, because it's working. It's working.
It working. So tell us, I just minding your business a little bit before we jump into the interview. You
No
know,
problem.
um,
Uh,
what does that look like for you? Like how intermittent fasting and what? I want to know the routine too.
sure. Well, I wouldn't say it's like strict intermittent fasting. It's kind of, I would say it's cheating a bit. So I wake up already like close to 11 o'clock. So it's very easy for me to not wake up at 11, eat breakfast, and then have lunch and then dinner.
Yeah.
So it's my natural routine is I wake up, just wait like an hour or two, have lunch, have dinner later, and then that's intermittent fasting by the definition in certain cases, and I'm losing weight.
Okay, you're cheating. That's what it is. I'm glad you said I in the beginning. That's cheating.
It is. It is. I'm
Yeah.
lucky that I wake up because if I woke up early every single day, I'd be starving. I don't know how I could handle it. So yeah, I'm lucky that I get to wake up late, and it works out for me.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, so that's a good introduction into the interview. I think rather than me reading your bio because it's already attached to the flyer, let's start by you telling us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So you've already introduced me, but I'm Jordan Smith. I've lived in Trinidad all my life, despite how I might sound. I have a bit of an Americanish accent. And that accent is a mixture of the American media that I consume a lot, and my parents, one is Jamaican, the other one is Trinidadian. So growing up, my brother and I, we didn't really have much of a, we didn't really have much of an accent to look towards because everybody in the house had a different accent. So we picked up the one from TV. And
Mhm.
that's why game company is also called Accent. because we want to make games that are mixed with local culture and influences while also being widely understandable and acceptable to everyone around the world. So my journey started regarding accent about 2 years ago when I incorporated the company. But even beyond that, since I was about 12 years old, I was dabbling in game development, programming, and because I had this kind of a knack for it, that's why I wanted to move towards making my own game development company, and Accent was born.
Nice. And before Accent, you said you did gaming and developing games as a hobby, right? So
Right. Yes.
what was the moment that made you like think, okay, maybe this could be like actual company, like a for-profit? What was that, the spark that gave you that idea?
So I used to work, starting in maybe 2021 or 2022. I started working in a local company called Caribbean Entertainment Technologies Limited. They're a AV company, and I respect a lot of the work they do. That's why I've got no problem letting everybody here know about them. And in that company, I went through many different roles and positions, and I helped in a lot of different ways. And about almost 2 years later, I figured that because I've been exposed to a lot of business management through this company, maybe I'll try my hand at achieving the dream of mine and my brothers, which is to make video games as a living. So I left the company and started my own, and that's what we've been doing since.
Okay. Where did you learn to develop games?
Um, Usually through YouTube. Back around 10 years ago, there was a big thriving community of other game development people who were showing what they know to the rest of the world through YouTube, through tutorials. And some of the major software used to create games went free. And that opened the floodgates for as many people as possible to be able to make games. And
Mhm.
these tutorials made it accessible to learn how to do it. That even my brother and I, at 12 years old, we were able to pick up some things and start working on projects. And we've always kind of had a desire to write stories, to make stories that when faced with the ability to do this through games with our own, cheap little laptop that overheats every second, being able to make games on that it was inspirational to us. So how could we not take the opportunity and learn how to do it and make games of our own?
Right. So completely self-taught.
Um, well, you're looking at tutorials. I wouldn't consider it too much to be self-taught because they
Yeah.
are fantastic on YouTube.
Yeah.
They really are, and so you're learning from masters in a way where it's similar, I guess, in which watching an online lecture in a university would be. So yeah, I've been very fortunate to have these resources, and we wouldn't be here without those.
Right. Okay, great. So let's dive into the meat of the thing. So you're a game developer, you have your company, and you saw this ad for Amplify Connect Creative Social Enterprise Fellowship. You applied, you got through. Why did you apply? What pulled you towards the fellowship?
Sure. So actually, I got the link to it the day before the deadline from my friend who's in chat and part of the accelerating group, Dosha Charles. So she's been pushing me throughout my entire journey to take this leap and to reach out to other resources for help. So she sent me this link, and was it was basically like what I was hoping to find my entire journey here, a
Yeah.
way to connect with other creative entrepreneurs and learn about the creative industry itself. Most other business programs tend to be a wide brush, just learning entrepreneurship. And while I learned a lot of valuable stuff from that, being able to join something that is tailored to the creatives, that is tailored to making a social impact, it seemed perfect, So I signed up immediately as fast as I could, and I had a deadline, so as fast as I was able to.
Yeah. So, what social issue or social challenges are you actually addressing through your work?
Sure. So, what I would like to tackle is the myriad of local Trinidadian stories that the world should know about. We've got a very rich culture in this tiny island
Yeah.
that is filled with, you know, dozens of stories, folklore, people. The culture is amazing, and I want more games and media to reflect it. And so the social impact that I'm trying to do is to bring forth local Trinidadian culture to a wider stage.
Yeah.
Example I could cite is recently an Indian developer from who lives in Canada right now wanted to be more in touch with his Indian side. So he created a game called Venba, which is about cooking classic Indian dishes.
Oh,
And it became very successful because the world is hungry for these new experiences. The world
yeah.
wants to know about other cultures and what makes them tick, what's, you know, what's interesting about them. And so I want to bring Trinidad into the spotlight as well.
Yeah. That's interesting. So, I mean, I would love to see a game with Papa Bois, and you know,
Exactly.
I don't know, it have the restaurant games that we used to play on Facebook long time. Like, I would
Uh,
love to see a game with people standing by a doubles cart, and the game is you being like a doubles vendor and thing. So, what
exactly.
what games have you developed so far, or is in progress? Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Sure. So I can tell you a bit about, I'll touch quickly on three projects that I've been working on in the last year. Two of which are not related to the Trinidadian culture or vibe,
Mm-hmm.
but they are smaller projects. And that would be two game projects I have. One is called Sound Escape, which is about trying to work with a friend to escape an escape room, but only using the sounds you hear around you.
Oh,
And the other one is a puzzler called Socks, which is about matching cute little socks to create bundles and try to
yeah,
get a score that way. And the common thread between both of these is that they are unique spins on, I guess, classic gameplay. You know, so you have
yeah,
a sound-based escape room or a puzzler where you have to manage two different puzzles. So it's Tetris, but you have to balance two Tetrises. So it's we like to create these experiences that nobody's ever done before, that is kind of fun, that is unique, and from there, as we get our footing, gradually build up into being able to tell a local story or a local
mm-hmm.
culture. Because what we need is we need a lot of help, which is another reason we joined the fellowship, is because to be connected with a lot of other entrepreneurs that who might also be interested or can also help to shape what a Trinidadian game might look like.
Yeah,
So the third project is a little bit more local. It's a project that I've kind of developed with the help of Dorsha, again, from the fellowship. That is, she creates a lot of puppets. And those puppets are used to help kids express themselves and to tell their stories and their struggles for students. And so, what I wanted to do is to help digitize that in a way where children can make their own digital puppets, where they could tell stories to each other. And so, that's the project that we're working on right now.
mm-hmm.
And the goal of that is to get it in the hands of as many struggling kids as we can who, want a way to express themselves, but may not have the resources to make a puppet themselves, or maybe a little bit shy, in terms of going to Dorsha and asking for her assistance. They'll be able to play this game,
Yeah,
meet with other people who have similar struggles as them, and, grow through this app. So
yeah,
those are the three projects that we're right now. And in the future, I do hope to be able to create more works and more stuff that are more expressive of the Trinidadian culture.
yeah. I realized that you mentioned a specific area of child like social issue that you wanted to tackle, but in answering that question, you're also tackling another social issue
Yeah.
of like accessibility to kids to some of these resources, and just seeing how it could be used as a tool for education. So I feel like the possibilities are almost endless. It just depends on like how you think about it, right?
True. Yeah, thank you for that point. You're right. I didn't think of it necessarily that way. At
Yeah.
first, I kind of thought of it as my friend who, to kind of expand to other children, but you're absolutely right. Yeah,
Yeah. So what challenges have you faced on this journey so far?
sure. So it's a bit tough to enter the gaming journey, the gaming industry as a whole right now. a lot of companies, a lot of industries are going through this kind of post-pandemic, strain as um, layoffs are happening, prices are going up, people are losing their jobs all over. So it makes it difficult for indie developers to break into it, especially as more people get laid off. They take their talents to make their own indie studio and make their own project, and they bring their studio level talent into the market as well.
Yeah.
So we end up with much more high quality games, but that high quality and high quantity means that it'll be more difficult for a small local company to try to break in there. But we're not discouraged at all. We welcome the challenge, and we can't wait to be able to put our work out there.
Yeah. Okay, great. And you spoke about Dosha being like one of the key reasons why you joined the fellowship. And she seems to be a pillar on the whole, kind of pushing you and encouraging you on the journey forward. How important is collaboration to you, but also to your field?
Sure. So, as you've heard, I kind of have an Americanish accent. That
Yes.
doesn't, yeah, that also reflects a little bit of how I understand Trinidadian culture as a way as well. So I love it, but I don't feel like I'm the perfect person to represent it. So what I would like to do is collaborate with other creatives who I believe have a much firmer grasp of what kind of stories they want to tell and how it should be told. And I want to give them that assistance from my game dev experience um, to bring that to life. So that's one of the reasons I joined the fellowship, because I know there are a lot of people in the creative sector that they could benefit from maybe a game or some sort of media like that to promote their brand, to promote their perspective on Trinidadian culture. And so I believe collaboration is essential for
Yeah.
the mission of Access to be possible.
Okay, great. Have you, outside of the fellowship, collaborated with anybody else within Trinidad to create some of your games or, develop ideas?
Not just yet. However, every year my brother and I will take part in game jams, which are international groups of game developers coming together to make a game based on a certain theme.
Oh, awesome.
And the two projects I mentioned before, Socks and Sound Escape, were created originally with that game jam opportunity. And the reason that we appreciate those is because everyone's trying to make something. So you have the support of everybody. And then when you put it out there, everyone will look at your game and give you feedback, outstanding feedback that is, it's invaluable. So some of the games we have wouldn't have been able to get to where they are now without the feedback from those wonderful communities. So
Yeah.
in terms of collaboration, it's not exactly set in stone, but we do a lot of work collaborating with people during these game jams from all
Yeah.
across the world.
Okay, awesome. And what is something that you have learned about yourself since starting Accent Games?
Um, I learned that, okay, I used to think that I was pretty lazy, right? Because I would go very long stretches of time without getting anything done.
Yeah.
And what I found through working on Accent is that I could get obsessive as well. So
Yeah.
I could be lazy from doing nothing, and I could be obsessed to the point of not eating if I have something that I want to work on. And Accent has given me many opportunities like that to work on something that I just don't want to stop.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure, but I learned that about myself, that I can work on stuff if I put my mind to it, and I guess addicted to it.
Yeah.
I kind of liken it to one of Newton's laws of motion, where an object at rest stays at rest. That'll be me, and an object in motion. That's what that rule applies to me, right?
Yeah.
Um, I did physics in UE, by the way, so I'm basically like that rule.
Yeah.
So that's why I myself through the accent journey.
Yeah. Look, Dosha is saying here in the comments you recently won a game jam recently. You're being real humble. You're
Oh,
being very.
yeah.
Tell us
I,
about
I
the.
I guess that's another thing I did learn about myself, is that I am very I'm very shy to speak about any sort of accomplishments, I guess. So so there was a game jam, just like that I mentioned before, that we would enter. This one was centered around farming games.
Right.
And the idea was to create a unique farming game. We had a month to do it. So my brother and I, we brainstormed, and this is a bit of a darling of his was to create a game, in which case you are the farmer in an RPG fantasy land. So
Right.
you've got the heroes who are out there saving the world, but you, the player, you play as this humble farmer who plays a very important role, of creating potions and their herbs and stuff so that they can survive. So that was the idea we put forward. A game where you play as the farmer, producing their potions and herbs, and then you would sell those to the heroes and help them to defeat evil.
Right.
And, we were very proud of it. We were.
Yeah.
But what we didn't expect was to actually win the little game jam. So when that
Yeah.
results came out, this is the first jam we ever won. So we didn't. That was a big major surprise for us,
Yeah.
and very very exciting. And so yeah, that'll also be another project that we will look towards in the future as well to
Yeah.
bring to full release.
Oh, that's cool. Um, what would you describe as your vision for your work, for your company in the future? Where do you see yourself going?
Sure. So the vision is to release a project, and then hopefully raise enough revenue from that project to either seek a publisher officially or to be able to hire one extra person.
Yeah.
And whether it be part time or full time, just to get somebody else on the team. And then create another project, possibly over the span of 6 months, and then hire another person when that's a success as well. And build up to about five full time or part time team members working towards a bit of a larger project, not nothing too big, nothing too crazy, but something that we could all achieve and that we'll be proud of, and using that framework to reach out again to publishers and investors across the gaming industry as a whole to say that we're here, we're local, and we've got something we're really proud of that we think you'll be very interested in helping us with, and then to take the ball, get the ball rolling from there. So that's the hope we have, and that's the current plan.
Okay, awesome. What advice would you give to a young person creatives, maybe even specifically persons who want to take on a journey like yours? It's a very unconventional career path, I think, in Trinidad and Tobago. You don't hear somebody saying they're a game developer in Trinidad and Tobago every day, you know?
Right.
What you would tell a young person wanting to take on a more unconventional career such as yours?
Sure. What I would say to them is that there are no borders when it comes to making games. You can make a game from anywhere in the world and release it to the entire world.
Yeah.
And so it's not like, when you have to make produce, you have to make that here, you have to sell that here, and getting it exported is a bit difficult. There's some barriers to entry there. For video games, I could make something tomorrow and release it to everybody around the world. And there are even cases where people have made something in their spare time, released it, and they've blown up in popularity, right?
Yeah.
And everybody, that changes their life overnight. So I would say that get started. You can look at a few tutorials that I was looking at. They're free. The information out there is crazy. It's high quality. It's all free. I would highly encourage people to check those out. And the tools and software people use in the big studios are also free as well. So
Really?
the biggest game development tool out there, which is Unreal Engine, is free
Oh,
for indie developers to use. As long as you're not making a huge set of money, you could
yeah.
use it absolutely free, barely any strings attached. And that's the one that's used by people who go on there to make Game of the Year titles.
Mm,
Studios with hundreds of people in development use this same tool,
yeah.
and we made Sound Escape with that engine, and I had a great time with it. And if Unreal Engine is a bit too intimidating, there are other options. There's Godot, which is a completely open source
Hmm.
um, game development tool, and there's Unity, which has had a little bit of controversy last year, but some people still use it,
Yeah.
and some people still like it. And I've never had a real problem with using it. That was the first engine I learned to use, so I've got a special place in my heart. But you've got a lot of different options when it
Yeah.
comes to making. And I would just say, give it a go.
Okay. I know I'm not a gamer, but I just wanna brag a little bit. I know about Unreal Engine, right? Yeah, I just play a little game too, you know. I'm Jordan. Don't feel like you're the only person here that's dabbling a little game, you know, a little Call of Duty and stuff like that.
No,
What? It's just a bonus question. What games like what's your favorite game to play? Like right now?
so I do have a history of games from my childhood and my youth that inspired me to take this journey. You know, some of the games like Persona, which I absolutely love, Kingdom Hearts, which I'm a major fan of, and these games inspire me. Right now, I would say I am basically hooked to Genshin Impact, and
Mhm.
that's it's a RPG. One of the things I've always wanted, which is a game that always updates its story. So it's
Right.
kind of like playing, it's like playing an anime,
Yeah.
and so, I play that almost every single day, and you know, it also represents cultures through its unique biomes in a way
Mhm.
that I would love to be able to do with Trinidad culture as well. You know, they have you could learn about different foods that cultures eat. You know, there's a area based on India, there's an area based on China, Japan, um, Europe, and you're able to learn about the foods they eat. And in some cases, you could learn about the, I guess, fantasy versions of the cultures. So it's
Yeah.
not one to, but it gives you a representation that, you know, I would love to be able to do with Trinidad culture as well.
Yeah.
So that's right now. That's where I'm at. I love playing Genshin Impact, and you know, that's an ongoing game. It goes. I think it's supposed to be a 10-year journey. So I think we're like year 5 or something in it.
Yeah.
So still some.
A living kind of game. Is it free or you have to pay for it?
It is free, but you know they do the same kind of like there are things you
Uh,
could pay for,
yeah,
and
yeah,
so
yeah.
they rely heavily on the people who pay a lot of money to keep
Yeah.
them afloat. You know
Yeah.
they rake billions of dollars every single year because people who don't have to but they want to, they get addicted to it. Some a bit of the gambling elements, they get addicted to it.
Mhm.
They give the money, but it is still free to enter. And
Okay.
I play free as well because you know I'm unemployed. No, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm an entrepreneur.
Yeah. Okay. And do you think that part of your journey is to encourage people to take on um, parts like these? Do you feel like you said it's been 2 years, but do you think that part of your journey is to kind of encourage more people to become game developers? Maybe you could tell us some of the rules that um, creating a game, like some of the rules that need to be filled to do that, because it's just you and your brother, but you said you all want to expand, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So give us a little bit into like what it takes to develop a game.
Sure, no problem. When it comes to making a game, I would say that there are three major elements that it's best to have a little bit of experience in. One is programming, so that's like you know the lifeblood of video games is the code behind it, and that
Yeah.
could be a little bit tricky for certain people to learn, especially if they've never done any before. Luckily, you know you've got tools right now like ChatGPT and other AI tools that um, will help you in terms of learning how to do it. So you'll always have like the backup there.
Mm.
And of course, the YouTube tutorials, which is how I learned to code, are also there for you. The second thing I would say, which is also as important, is art. And art is very important because, as much as people say, don't judge a book by its cover, everybody judges video games by the art in a
Yeah, yeah,
way. They
yeah,
first see it because every single day, thousands of games are added to the marketplace. And how do you discern which game you want to play and which game you don't? For a lot of people, it's easy to just look at a game and say, that one looks better. These don't look too good. These look like they were made over the weekend. This one looks like they put a lot of effort into it. I'll
yeah,
stick to this one. And so art is a very important part, often neglected, of making sure that your game is able to stick out and stand out in the marketplace. And
yeah.
then the third thing is something that I often mistakenly neglect, which is audio. And in terms of how my little company runs, I do the
Mm.
programming, my brother does the art, but we don't really have anyone for audio.
Right.
So that leads us. That's like the weakest part of our game is that we have no one to, you know, make soundtracks. So we have to get licensed ones online. We don't really have anyone to tell us that this sound effect works well for this. So you know, we've had many cases where people play our game and the number one feedback is always like,
Yeah.
hey, this is annoying. We don't like listening to this. I have to play the game on mute. So that's our weak point is audio. So I would say those three areas. If you could find people to cover it, or if you could just get a little bit of understanding
Mm-hmm.
On those topics, then I would say you'll be well on your way to making a successful game.
Right. So programming, art, a little bit of, creativity where that is concerned, and audio. Yeah?
Yep, and it doesn't have to be amazing, right? It doesn't have to be amazing, but I would
Where
say
can,
just give it the best.
where can we find some of your games? The two that you created before, are they available online?
They are not yet available to play. I'm still working on getting them ready for release.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because I want them as well. I want them to stand out
Yeah.
as well. So I'm making sure that the art looks good. I reached out to certain publishers, and they had told me that one of my games, Sound Escape, it looked like a prototype
Right.
that people would add programmer art to it. And so that's another important thing, is to make sure that I release these games in the best cases they could be.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So I have two more questions for you, right?
Sure.
Off topic, off the fellowship, off the gaming. Tell us what give us one song that
Uh,
you've been listening to recently that is the theme for your life right now.
it's difficult to name just one song.
Mm-hmm.
Earlier I spoke to how I could get obsessive.
Yeah.
And one of the ways that I've used that is that I listen to my music um, only when I'm working on my projects.
Right.
Way, I feel compelled to get back to working on the project because the music is a reward.
Right. Right.
So, yeah, so it's hard to say one particular song, but I'll say my entire playlist has
Yeah.
that effect on me, where when I start hearing it, I start thinking of business ideas. I start thinking about the last problem I was trying to solve, the
Yeah.
last, error I just couldn't figure out, and I get right back to work, and it keeps me focused and dialed in.
Yeah. Well,
So
some of
I
the
use
songs in the playlist now.
a
Oh,
lot of it is Japanese.
Ja-
I'm a big fan of Japanese music, and so Japanese rock and stuff. So it's difficult for me to say off the top of my
yeah.
head Japanese names of them, but I do love a band called One OK Rock, and they're Japanese, and they are my favorite of the Japanese groups so far. And every time I hear their music, get to work.
See, I feel that's the real reason why I didn't want to tell me the name of the artist, because I would not have known any of them. All right.
Right.
So the last question is, what is a dream collaboration for you? Living, dead, local, global, dream
Luckily,
collaboration.
luckily for me, they're alive, and unluckily for me, they're kind of a big deal. So, as you see, I'm wearing the PlayStation shirt because I'm a huge fan of PlayStation, and not only of the games they make, but the community. I love the business behind. I love the decisions. I love knowing about the people who wear the suits in PlayStation and make the decisions. I love knowing about all that stuff. And so, a dream collaboration of mine would be to work with PlayStation pretty much in any form or fashion. But I would love to be able to make a PlayStation exclusive that helps to elevate their whole brand as a
Yeah,
whole. There's actually, there are many cases where Trinidadians have made it in Sony. Right? There's Sean who used to work at Naughty Dog, I believe he still does, and he made some very popular titles before, such as he helped to direct Uncharted Lost Legacy, which I played. I loved it. It told a very good cultural story with India, who the main character happened to be from. So that was one of my inspirations, being able to tell a big budget production like that while reflecting, Trinidadian culture. So if I'm ever able to work with Sean ever in the future, or PlayStation as a whole, that would be a dream come true.
oh, that's awesome. That's real awesome. Big up Sean for representing Trinidad and Tobago. We have some comments here. I'm seeing we getting greetings from Kingston, Jamaica.
Wow.
right?
Yeah. Yes.
Coaching
Hello, everyone.
executives.
Thank you for the comments. And
Alicia say dreaming big.
yes, absolutely.
Um, let's open up the floor for some questions before we wrap up. Now, anybody who's listening right now, Jordan shared a lot of amazing things. Anybody have any questions for Jordan? Any comments for Jordan? Drop it in the comments. And we'll try to answer them. Jordan will try to answer them, you know?
I'll try. Absolutely.
Yeah, but Jordan, is really, really, really cool to hear your passion. It has something on my mind. Like
Uh-huh.
you make being nerdy so cool. You know, it's,
Yes. Yes. I'm glad
it's
to do so.
yeah,
Absolutely.
so cool to see you just embrace this thing fully. So we have a question here from Dosha.
Sure.
What are some of the accomplishments you have achieved on your entrepreneurial journey?
Sure. So yeah, as mentioned before, I'm not a big fan of boasting the accomplishments, but I
Yeah,
probably should get a little bit more comfortable with doing so.
yeah,
What I've done so far, I've been a part in a few local programs for businesses, local entrepreneurship businesses, and one of them, I'm not sure. Would you mind if I give them a shout out here or anything?
of
Uh,
course.
yeah. So Jumpstart. Jumpstart is that was my first one. It gave me a jumpstart, and I learned a lot about entrepreneurship from them, and they had a pitch competition, in which you had to pitch your business ideas and stuff. And I was lucky enough to come first in that. So
Oh wow.
I was very surprised and
Congratulations.
proud of it too. Because I
Yeah.
guess as I say, my nerdy passion kind of emanates. And then later in the year, I also did something with Careery. They had a DIA program that was also focused on helping entrepreneurs. And what I wouldn't say that wasn't really a ranking pitch competition either, but I was able to gain venture capital from that. So all these journeys that I've been on that have people have pushed me
Yeah.
and had faith in my business enough to hand money or support. It means the world to me. And so
Yeah.
thank you very much, Dosha, for asking that question.
Yeah.
Thank you to everybody who me this far.
Yeah. Um, so as you're saying that, something, I feel like we have to continue to like make like a main message of entrepreneurship is the fact that you can't stay stagnant. You really have to seek out opportunities because then your business ventures will not grow. You would not grow if you don't seek out
Right.
opportunities. So I'm glad that you keep seeking out these types of opportunities to kind of improve yourself and expand as a good thing.
Yep.
See,